rocking and rolling, brother.
Gotcha. Good to be here, Adam. Thank you.
But Rick's good. Everybody's good. Okay, cool, dude. So thank you so much for like sitting down with me and doing this. Life is such an adventure. You know what I mean? Like you just never know who's going to come into your life and what path you're going to cross and how things are going to unfold.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's been a whole bunch of things kind of leading to this, and then like serendipitously, I mean, you met Rick at the conference this weekend, and here we are today. So I think I might want to kind of start there if you're cool with that. Can you tell me about the conference this weekend? So like what's going on? What brought you there? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. It was perfect. I just got back from Peru I was in Peru for 2 weeks. And we went to the Brendon Burchard's conference. It was called the High Performance Experience.
yeah.
A good friend of mine, he's a coach, and he invited us to go, and I brought a couple friends, and we just had an opportunity to really tune in our lives and get focused on what matters and what's important.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you can see this here, but the whole gist is live, love, matter. If you know anything about Brendon Burchard, that's his message. And so the whole conference was around that.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I love about going to personal development conferences, the people you meet are really where the wealth is.
Right.
So, as a result, I met you, just incredible people.
Yeah.
You leave filled with ideas and inspiration and notes and guidelines of new actions to take in your life. So, yeah, that brought me to meet you.
Right, dude. So
excellent.
Live, love, matter. And then that's like, those were explain that, like the concept behind that for me. Because I thought that was so cool. You explained it to me earlier. It's like those are the three things that you asked, right?
Yeah, well, Brendon got in a car accident when he was in Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
And he almost died. And from that experience, he was able to live, and he started asking the question, did I make a difference in the world? Have I lived substantially? Have I loved? Have I been loved? And have I lived a life that matters? And so I've been following him for quite some time. I've read a few of his books, and this is the first time I got the opportunity to hear him live and speaking to those things. So I think that's something we all want. We want to make a difference. We want to have a life that's significant.
Yeah.
So I've kind of made it something I like. I enjoy going to conferences where I get inspired in new levels of ideas, and so that happened.
Yeah, that's so cool. I mean, when you put yourself in that environment with people that are kind of living on a very similar vibration as you, and they have like similar goals and like-mindedness, that's really, like you said, that's where a lot of the benefit is when you go to these conferences. Or I like to attend like workshops with health and fitness, and it's the same thing. You meet all these people who have traveled from all over, who have like the same passions and kind of same way of thinking or similar thought processes. And you just find this synchronicity in like your vibrations, and a lot of things can grow from there, I've found.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's you meet new business partners, you meet new ideas, and in this case, I left with a notebook full of insights, and today I'm actually going to do some journaling around that, right? So I think that's a key thing you do when you leave a conference is you integrate and take notes, and what can you capture from that whole experience that then lives in your life?
Yeah.
There's no sense in getting motivated, getting excited if you don't then have a process then to integrate and how do you bring these new ideas in your life?
Yeah, actually implement those.
What's that?
Yeah, actually implement those things, right? So many people, I feel, there's a lot of, I've heard this term I like, it's called success zombies, where they love to go to those things and you get charged up, right? But then you go home afterwards and you don't actually do anything with it. They like to just consume the success material, but the next step is you really do have to integrate it and put it into your life and actually do something with it.
It's the whole point of learning is to what then does your life look like as a result of learning?
Right.
Hey, can we stop for a second? I am sweating my balls off from that trick, and I'm just gonna get some fresh air.
No
and come
worries.
Back. Is that okay?
Yeah, go ahead. You again. And now we're rocking and rolling again. Cool. So we could just pick up where we left off. You're good now, though?
Yeah, thank you.
Cool. Fantastic. I really want to read Brendon's book. I actually just got his, 6 Habits of Highly Successful People? Is that one what it's called?
I don't know if that's one of Brendon's. The first one I read was Motivation Manifesto.
Yeah.
He wrote another one called The Charge Life. And there's another one they just came out with called The Millionaire's Secrets, I believe. I've read those first two. Motivation Manifesto is really good.
Okay.
If you need a kick in your butt
to
just level up your life a little bit, that's a
Yeah.
good read. It's a good quick read to, just start looking at your life in a
Yeah.
different perspective.
I
Yeah.
have to check it out. Yeah, because I just got his new book. I just can't remember what it's called. Because he does like the buy one, like you buy it for free and
Oh,
or you
he's
get it
good.
for.
He's good.
Yeah, that whole like the free plus funnel
Yeah.
is ingenious. It's like
Yep.
just get them in, give them my stuff, and they'll see the value.
Yeah.
But that's cool, man. So you were just back from Peru. Like,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
please tell me about that. So like, what took you down to Peru? Like,
Yeah. I have to breathe into that because it's such an extraordinary experience. I've been down there now 6 times, and I was invited, actually like 4 years ago, I really started getting into personal development, and
Okay.
I went to a conference, and during that time in my life, actually I was going through a divorce, and during that time in my life, I made a decision to say yes to interesting invitations. I just had a standing thing that like, I just said yes.
Yeah.
And, in life, you're looking for new things, but if you keep doing the same things, you get the same results.
Right.
So I was like, yeah, I'm saying yes to anything interesting. And one of my partners in this personal development conference, she happened to start working with these different plant medicines and gave me the invitation to go to Peru. And I didn't know anything about, we work with a medicine called ayahuasca. I had no idea anything about it. I didn't know anybody in my circle that had ever worked with this kind of anything.
So you never heard of it, or?
I heard Joe Rogan talk about it like
Okay.
4 years previously, but
Okay.
nobody in my life.
Right.
So I didn't know Joe Rogan, so nobody in my life that I could relate to.
Right.
But what I heard when I heard Joe Rogan talk about it, and there's also a movie called DMT, the Spirit Molecule,
Right.
that's on Netflix.
I've
I watched that, and the titles, the Spirit Molecule. Don't we all want more spirit in our life?
Yeah.
So she invited me to Peru, and me and 2 other friends from this gift conference, we went, and it was just ended up being truly one of the most beautiful experiences of my lifetime, times a million.
Really.
And at that point in my life, I've always been a seeker of wisdom and experience and knowledge, and I've traveled extensively, and I've had a very, very full life. And I will tell you, nothing compares to what I felt, what I experienced, what I felt in my body, what I learned. My heart got opened. So, the gist of it, there's all throughout the Amazon, and there are shamans, which are medicinal doctors that use plants, right? So there's a problem with your lung, your kidneys, you break a leg, there's no doctor,
Right.
right? These people for thousands of years have learned how to use the plants that are all around them to heal.
Right.
And they know that every single plant has medicine in it. Every single plant has medicine in it. And there's a particular plant that is incredibly powerful. It's called ayahuasca. And it's a brew. It kind of looks like chocolate molasses. It's a combination of 2 plants, ayahuasca and a plant called chacruna. That these are brewed together over a period of like 3 days. And from that comes this mixture that it's thick and doesn't necessarily taste amazing by any stretch of the imagination.
Right.
But what it does for your life is just nothing short of miraculous. And so I went through this series, they call them ceremonies, right? So it's not something you take lightly. It's not a joyride. It's no joke.
Right.
It's deep emotional, physical, psychological healing. And I'd taken Adderall for 15 years because I had ADD and my mind was always racing. And I could talk about this subject for days, but
Yeah.
it was the first time in my life that my mind was silent. And that was
Really?
just one of the gifts. And I've never had any desire whatsoever to take Adderall or any synthetic drugs or anything.
So that experience helped you kind of just stop that cold turkey?
1,000,000%. Yeah, I had to get off of it for 30 days before I went.
going?
Yeah,
Okay.
there's a strict diet that you go on to prepare your body. A good way that I explain this experience to people is like Moses went up to Mount Sinai. He took his shoes off and he went to meet God.
Right.
Working with these particular plants is a very similar experience. It is a sacred experience where you are confronted with your life,
Right.
the good, the bad, and the ugly. And ayahuasca it's a plant teacher, right? It's literally like the Google of everything. It's a teacher. It can give you insight and knowledge to anything that's happened in your life, helps you reframe things, gives you new perspective on your life. I mean, for countless ways, it's a teacher. It's an intelligent plant. It connects with your biology and begins to heal you of the disease in your body. So anyway, that first experience, I remember looking at laying out in my back, looking out through the jungle stars, and you've never seen stars like the stars in the jungle,
All right.
and so grateful to be alive, and so grateful for what I'd just been through, and the thought came, I can't not share this with people.
Yeah.
And so for the last 4 years, I've been taking trips down there and bringing groups of anywhere from 8 to 15 people the most. I speak Spanish and translating with these shamans. I work with these beautiful, beautiful people. The particular couple that we work with, it's a lady who healed herself of cancer using plant medicine.
Oh, wow.
And her son. So they bring thousands of years of their knowledge of working with the plants and what does what, and how to administer these plants in a sacred way. And I kind of facilitate the group and work on preparing people for what's ahead and how to get ready and the diet to go on, and then make sense of what you're experiencing, and then try to integrate your lessons as much as possible. So so I got back from Peru a week or so ago, and I'm getting ready for another group in June, and it's becoming increasingly a bigger part of my life. I know people everywhere that are suffering of all kinds of things.
Right.
Addiction and depression, trauma, things from their childhood, things they're dealing with now.
Yeah.
And a good way to describe ayahuasca is 1,000 counseling sessions in a night.
Right. It helps
It
you
is
address the trauma.
Unbelievably quick, literally. And some things take time, right? You messed up your life over a period of time. So not everything gets healed right away, but the amount of healing that is possible in a night is otherworldly.
It's like years of therapy.
Years of therapy. It's otherworldly. And I'm learning to work with the planet at higher level. Sit with it. I've sat with it like 56 times, which is a fair amount, but not too wild either.
Yeah,
I'm learning to work with it. You learn to work with the medicine, to listen to it and direct the medicine with your intention. You go into these ceremonies with a very clear intention of what you're looking for.
And that's super important, right?
And I will tell you, the last time I was there, I got physical healing on my back. My back's been giving me problems for years, and no chiropractor, I do yoga as much as possible. Nothing was able to release what I released through drinking plants in my physical skeleton and in my energetic body and my muscles. And so it's fascinating. It's the most fascinating. I don't know. There's a lot of books on it, but I've read 8 books on it. It's such a fascinating experience, and such a fascinating thing to learn and bring in your life.
Yeah. You know what fascinates me the most is there are almost an infinite number of combinations of things that you can mix in the jungle.
Yeah.
And DMT, dimethyltryptamine, right, which is like the active ingredient in ayahuasca, like that's in most living things, right? And yet from my understanding, whenever you talk to like the people of the jungle, they often say the plants told them how to make this.
Yeah.
And it's like whoa. You know what I mean? Like, how could you have possibly figured out, put this root with this plant, brew them, and then now you're talking to God?
Yeah, it's interesting. I asked the shaman I work with, who's your mentor, right? Because there's a lot to know with different plants, and she said that exact same thing. So she said the plants teach me directly.
Yeah.
The plants teach them where to go, what to brew, and it's just it's learning at a level. It's understanding at a level there's just not language for.
Right.
So we're having this conversation. We're trying to approach a little bit what happens.
Yeah.
For anybody listening, I would just tell you, there's nothing in your life
yeah.
that we don't have language for it. Our language is far too small, far too limited.
Yeah.
Far too, we're not used to living in a world of miracles.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe some are, but it's a miraculous experience and a miraculous plant. And it completely opens your mind and life to so much that's always available.
Yeah. It's like no matter what noise we make with our face, it's not really going to bring it justice. I always have a hard time trying to explain to people. Like I've had some pretty powerful experiences with like psilocybin,
Yeah.
or even like the more concentrated form of DMT, and it just nothing I can say can ever describe it to somebody. And whenever I try, especially if you've never experienced it, they just look at you with this glossed over face. They're just like, cool, like, all right, buddy. Like, so how does one prepare for such an experience? Like, what kind of timeline would somebody need to like take into account when they're getting ready for a trip like this?
Yeah, great question. And there are places that don't take it very serious. What I tell people, you have. So we do like 5 ayahuasca ceremonies typically, and another plant we work with is called San Pedro,
San
and we do
Pedro.
floral baths and a variety of things. But so let's say you're doing 5 ayahuasca ceremonies. I look at it like you have 5 wishes for a genie in a bottle.
Okay.
Like literally, like what do you want to know? What do you understand? You got 5. Or whatever. You got 5 questions you can really dive in deep and understand and completely transform your life in 5 areas.
Mm-hmm.
So take it very serious, right? Take it very serious what those opportunities are. So the more you take, there's a diet, and the more you mentally, emotionally prepare, the deeper typically your experience is. The plant somehow knows, and you know if you've taken it seriously or
Yeah.
if you've been flippant about it. So generally speaking, the more you can do, even earlier on, the better.
Yeah.
But the minimums that you want to do, you want to get off of all pork. And it's fascinating. Why not pork? But you want to get off all pork
Just
products.
not meat, just pork.
Even all meat. And here's something: we take on the characteristics of the food that we eat. So we eat food that has nutrients in it, but it also has attributes of whatever that living thing was.
Yeah.
So the more live, vibrant plants you can eat, the better, right? Most of our meat is processed. It's filled with hormones and chemicals and all kinds of garbage. And a lot of the meat that we eat, they're conscious that they're dying. And so they know, pigs, for example, they know they're dying. They're very evolved animals. And I didn't know about this before. But are you kidding me? I didn't have any grasp of this whatsoever. But specifically with pigs,
Yeah.
they know they're going to the slaughter, and they secrete into their bones and muscles and their meat a fear hormone. And you ingest that, and you take on the attributes of all the food you eat.
Wow.
And so they will eat in Peru. They'll eat wild boar because it's wild, and it's nothing wrong with the meat. It's the life of that animal.
Right. It's like the way in which it went about, right? If it's, is it like a factory farm animal, or is it, like a piece of, like elk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That you went out and you got, and it was just living its life. And then it was a very quick type of thing. And this,
Very, very different.
Big difference.
And I'm not quite this sensitive. I know people that they can immediately feel energy of an animal.
Yeah.
More and more as I'm cleaning up my own diet and eating more plant-based diet and more water, I can feel some levels of that stuff, but there are people that immediately they just won't eat meat because of that. They can feel the life of that animal, right, and a little bit of what it went through.
Wow.
So at a minimum, you want to get off that. It's a deeply spiritual experience, and your mind needs to be in the right space.
Yes.
And so if you're on any kind of drugs for depression
SSRIs,
that you can't have that. So that's a challenge for some people. You got to clean that up at least a month before you go.
Okay.
I mean, some things maybe 2 weeks, but you want to have a clean mind, a clean body to start working with these medicines.
That makes sense.
And so, there's to understand that ideally, and in the Western world, we're more casual than what historically people have done. They just ate plantains and dry fish and water. I mean, nothing.
Really?
So our diet, we allow for more things, but you want to get off of caffeine, as little sugar as possible, spicy food, fermented foods.
You don't want those.
You don't want those.
Oh.
Yeah. So at least 2 weeks out. No sex, no cannabis.
Okay.
And why no sex? Masturbation. You want to have your own energy field be in as much integrity as possible and preserve your energy.
Oh. Okay.
So, and then, start meditating, do yoga, just literally prepare it like it's a very sacred experience. And so even what you have in your environment, right? So the kind of music you listen to, You want to be in as clean of emotional, mental state as possible.
Yeah, so something that puts you at ease and
Yeah.
relaxes you and helps you center yourself.
Yeah, if you definitely don't want to work with some of these plants if you're at a chaotic space, and there's some level of fear involved.
Yeah.
It's impossible to not have. I didn't know any idea what I was getting myself into.
Right.
So I was prepared. Everybody has some level of fear because it's the unknown. You're dealing with an unknown. You can't possibly completely prepare, but following the diet as much as you can and putting your heart in the right space for the things that you're going to learn and the things you're going to experience is definitely key. Yeah.
I've learned that anytime you're dealing with a plant medicine, you definitely have to be in the right mental space.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you're not, like, that's whenever these difficult experiences are, like, or challenging experiences, how I usually like to call them, like, that's when those usually arise. Anytime I've ever had like a challenging experience with something, it's always because like I didn't respect the medicine.
Yeah.
And I didn't I wasn't in the best headspace, and I did it anyway. And like, you quickly learn, like, that presents its own way of learning.
Yeah.
too, right? Like, you quickly learn, like, whoa, you should probably respect these and be in the right space before you do something like this.
Yeah, they call it set and setting.
Yeah,
and,
set and setting.
Specifically, what I like about the place I go to, there's probably 100 different lodges you can work with in Peru.
Yeah.
A lot of them are very rustic, and the experience is very difficult because you're sleeping on a tough bed, you're getting bit by all kinds of bugs.
Yeah.
It's just it's the living on top of the medicine's difficult. So where we go it's a really nice lodge. It's called Lakshmi.
Okay.
And it's comfortable. It's on a river overlooking this heaven basically, and birds everywhere, and the air there is 10 times more oxygenated than here.
Oh, wow.
There's pink river dolphins. It's just a magical place. There's no other word for it.
Wow.
So part of the set and setting is you're hearing and experiencing nature, right? You're in a place in the plant's biosphere. Your body rhythms get more in a natural state. You sleep well. You're really, really connected to nature.
Yeah.
In the environment of ayahuasca, and there's just something really special to that.
Yeah.
And it's you're diffusing. You're breathing this beautiful air. You're breathing in plant diffused everything, and you just feel incredibly alive. So the location, and then there's no Wi-Fi. You're not on your phone. A lot of times there are places you can have ceremony, they call it in the States, but you're in traffic the next day.
Yeah.
So you're dedicated. This is what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're resting, you're thinking. We do integration circles. And so the whole experience is built around everybody's unique healing.
Yeah.
And some silence and some alone time and time of reflection. And in the world we live in, that is a rarity. It is such a rarity. So just to be able to sit and look at the ocean and look at the clouds and feel gratitude for your life and gratitude for nature.
Yeah.
And gratitude for the beauty all around you and the beauty that's your life and the challenges of your life, and just really breathe that in. And it's a gift. It's just a gift.
And just to be able to, like, connect with nature, because we do come from nature.
Oh.
There's a reason why we feel so good when we unplug and we get away from all of, like, the magnetic fields of, Wi-Fi and electricity and all the things of, like, modern luxuries in the city. You know what I mean? TVs and computers, like, there are invisible fields that that we interact with, like, our energy interacts with. And, like, for example, I don't even have, I took all electronics out of my bedroom. Like, there's no TV in there. Like, I don't do work in there because it affects your sleep at night. And there's a very real connection between us and, like, the invisible world of nature that people just don't understand. So when you unplug and you reconnect with nature and you go barefoot and you touch the ground and you connect with the earth and you disperse all of this tension out of your body and you find, like, this homeostatic state, there's just nothing like it. You feel so much better when you just get out of all of, like, the civilized world and you just connect with nature where we came from.
Yeah, the indigenous group that we work with, they're called the Shipibo. They're the most beautiful people on the planet. They're just connected with nature in a way I've never known human beings, and their experience of God is different than ours, right? And I kind of learned a little bit about this in one of my last ceremonies. The way they look at God is God's not separate from them. God's not this being that's outside and judging them. That God is in them, through them, and everywhere, like air, right? God is in the air. It's in you. And they're happy. They're happy people. And it's really interesting to see the joy that these people have in living so closely to Gaia and God. They don't have, where we go, I think the average income is $250 a year.
Oh, yeah.
So if anybody's going to be upset that they don't have the things that we think we need,
Right.
these are happy people. They have nothing. And they have these beautiful magnetic smiles, and they're at peace. And they don't deal, talking to our shaman, they do not deal with the stresses and the anxieties and the emotional turmoil that we go through. They just don't deal with it.
Yeah, like the man-made
Holy cow.
stressors that we put on
They look at us like we're aliens, like we live such a difficult life compared to them.
Right.
Because we're we're disconnected from nature.
100% we're disconnected
Yeah.
from nature. How large is that village?
Yeah, so one of the cool things that when you have joy, you want to share it. So right next to the lodge we work at, there's a little village, about 1,500 people. It's called the 29th of October. And so part of our trips, we've started to notice there's a need there. And they don't have clean water. They drink out of the river, which just filled with feces and bacteria and all kinds of stuff. And they don't. The government doesn't help them with anything, basically. And they literally hunt in this village. They have electricity generator that turns on for like an hour or two, but they hunt for their food. They fish for the food. They grow their own food. They don't live that much differently than their people lived 100 years ago. They just really don't.
Right.
And so, yeah, one of the things we started doing, we have a commitment. We're going to bring them clean water. We're talking to one of our mutual friends, Patricia, about an educational academy there, and really a cooperative partnership with these beautiful people. The lady we work with, she's got 160 acres, and we're exploring growing medicine on her property to provide additional jobs and income for these people.
That's exciting.
So, I mean, people from all the world come there and they get healing, and we want to give back to these beautiful medicines and these beautiful people, and it's, we have what we can do for them will change their life, just like these medicines and sharing their ways with us has changed my life and so many other people.
Yeah, it's crazy to think that there are people who don't have access to clean water, but there are so many people. You know what I mean? It's easy to be here in America and just think that everything is the way it is here. But when you start going out into the world, which is something I really look forward to, I haven't done a whole lot of traveling outside of the States, and it's something I really look forward to because it does open up your mind to say, it's not all like sunshine and rainbows. Like, there are really people out here who are struggling and they don't have these human needs that we need, these basic needs like clean water. Yeah, so that's super powerful. So there's what's the step? Like, how could if anybody wanted to like help you with that, like what can people do to maybe help with that, or
To specifically the water?
yeah, with helping the people of the tribe and maybe contribute to bringing water to that village.
Yeah. Probably the best way is to email me,
Okay.
Jimmy Kindred, like Kindred Spirit, @gmail.com.
Okay.
And so, we bring groups, and part of what we do is help them. But if anybody is inspired to help in addition to that,
Yeah.
we would love it. One of the shaman that we work with, she's literally like saved my life and so many other people. And the village that she grew up in today doesn't have electricity or running water.
Wow.
And so we're also committed to helping her she's bought these plant medicines that have been healing, but they need healing electricity. They need healing water in their communities.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, anybody that feels inspired and a connection to help with that, reach out to me, and we'll do whatever we can to have you be part of what we're doing.
Right on. And I'll put that in like the show notes so people can kind of have like access and easy to get to. But yeah, when Rick was telling me about that, I'm like, that is so amazing. And it made me really think about, I was telling Rick and Patricia on the way here, and we were talking about Peru and all of this. And what started me on this journey with podcasting was I wanted to connect with people, and I really wanted to develop like a sense of empathy because, I fought MMA, and it's a very it's a very masculine world, and it's all about proving something. You kind of have an ego and a chip on your shoulder, and there's just all this like butting of heads, and you're very when you're an athlete in that way, it's a very selfish life. You just kind of think of what you have and like your goals and what you need to do. And as I've transitioned past that, I've realized that I've lived my whole life as this athlete with like a chip on my shoulder, and I didn't really take the time or develop like a true appreciation for like connecting with people and like that sense of empathy. And I feel like it's so important just in life to be able to connect with people and to feel for them. So one that put me kind of on the path of wanting to go to Peru and try ayahuasca, which that's a whole journey in itself, and it's a little bit harder to get down there sometimes. So in conjunction with that, I'm like, well, I love podcasting and I want to connect with people and I want to have these conversations. So I started the podcast as also a way to like, I only do these in person because I want to like have a real connection and an actual conversation. And I wanted to like develop that sense of empathy and like through actual connections. So it's just really, I don't even know, for lack of a better word, like weird almost, like that. Like I'm here now, and Rick had met you, and like I've already been on the podcast path, but like the podcast path brought me like full circle back to the original goal for me, which was to hopefully get down to Peru and experience this medicine and change my life in a major way, even more so than the change that has happened just from even starting this podcast. So it's just so cool to see how everything kind of comes full circle and like work together, like
Yeah.
the people that you connect with.
Man, one thing I've learned recently, life just continually gives me the chills, is the things, in ceremony said intentions. Whatever Jesus says, seek and ye shall find, ask and it shall be opened unto you. And the universe literally works like that.
Yes.
So it's interesting. I met at this conference a month ago. We said, let's bring trees and let's grow medicine. I met somebody at the conference. So that's now on my radar. I met somebody at the conference whose husband is like the president of the Nursery Association of America. He's like the best guy on the planet if I do this.
Right.
They have a friend. We need a water engineer. They have a friend that's a water engineer.
Yeah.
So you start declaring what you're looking for in life and be intentional about, this is what I want.
Yes.
And then start looking for it in your life. The things that you're looking for are looking for you. Rumi says that, right? Whatever you're looking for is looking for you.
I believe
right?
it.
People are looking to serve each other and help each other, and things will start falling out of the sky. And two things has kind of come up. If I can share this,
Please.
There's a lot that you can learn from nature, and one of the fascinating things I remember just really tuning into is ants. If you watch ants, they're just all about helping each other.
Yes.
Right? They have a colony, but none of them are thinking about their own needs or taking a break. And I don't know how they do it, but you can see ants that travel who knows how far, and they meet up with each other and exchange information.
Yeah.
Where's the food source? Where's home? I don't know what they're talking about.
Right.
But they're connecting, and they're sharing information, and they're lifting each other's burdens, and they're making the pathway easier for one another.
Yes.
And in the jungle, I made a little song. We should all be like ants. We should all be like ants. Ants teach us how to be human beings, right? They connect. Let's connect with each other. We all have things that for us are easy to give.
Yes.
That for somebody in that moment could be a game changer, a glass of water, right? An extra pair of shoes, whatever that we have in excess that for somebody else changes their world and life. And that's a teaching. And another quote that just popped in my mind is, we're all just walking each other home, right? We are all in our own path, helping each other, learning and growing and sharing knowledge and light and love and information. We're all going to the same place.
Yes.
We're all walking each other home. And it may feel in some moments that you're under-resourced or you have more than somebody else, and it doesn't matter. We are all in the same boat. We're all on this same planet.
Yeah.
We all have a desire to love, live, and matter and make a difference. We all want the same things. The core of who we are, we all want the same things.
Yes.
And we're here to support each other in that. And I just think also in life, the sooner you realize that your life becomes amazing to the degree that you can help other people have their life be amazing, your life, you get way more by giving to people than you could ever possibly get in going out seeking for your own anything.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt, right?
Yeah.
And that you're that way. I can see it in your eyes and your desire to teach and inspire, and all the listeners around here. You do this. You do this out of the love of your heart.
Yeah.
To one thing in this podcast or one thing in your life that can touch somebody, that they can hear something that gives them hope to do something different. So you're one of the difference makers in the world for sure, Adam, as well.
Thank you. Trying.
Yeah.
One of the things I like to think about is I can't remember where I heard it, but like everybody is just me living a different life. Like we're all God experiencing itself. You know what I mean? So I try to just look at people. The individual details may be different, but like you said, like we're all the same. You know what I mean? Like we're all gods. We all have the same basic human needs. You know, we all want love. We all have fear. We all experience joy and sadness. Like there are these overarching like human archetypes that we all experience, but people feel like we're all so different sometimes. And it's a shame because we're all connected. Everything's connected. Everything is intertwined in some form or fashion.
Yeah. Again, that's something that you viscerally learn in ayahuasca, because I saw the world as a lot of separation. I saw myself as separate from animals and separate from plants and separate from other human beings.
Yes.
Better, worse, some level of judgment, right? Some level of judgment. And anytime you have a judgment for yourself or other people, you literally separate yourself from them.
Yes.
And indigenous people have known these teachings and these truths, and I think more and more we're starting to relearn or remember these things, that we all there's a million different language for it, but we're all cut from the same cloth, and we all have the vibrancy and the energetic of God within us.
Yes.
And we're all just walking each other hand. We all are here for the same purpose and cause, and we're all meant to support and heal each other, just like the forest does, right? And again, trees, how they support one another. That you look at how trees, they send nutrients to the ones that are deficient. There's a massive network, and it's not about me, right? It's not about an individual tree. They're connected underground to this massive network of sharing information, and they do that to be in harmony. And again, what can you learn from nature? Nature doesn't see itself as separate. It's in harmony with with itself.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a fierce world for nature too. You want to see a beetle fight or whatever, but it's in harmony. Everything works in harmony, and we're really meant to come back to that. And I think what's beautiful about the time we're living in right now, more and more people are waking up to that. More and more people are realizing that we're in this together, and let's do it together. Let's all win. Let's find a way that we can all win and live here in peace.
We all can.
We all can. We have the technology. We have the ability like never before.
There's an abundance.
We have everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We really do. What really blew my mind, which the very first time ever I did DMT, like in the more concentrated form, that's whenever I first truly understood that I have a body. I am not my body. Because for the longest time, I always thought that I always identified like with this physical space, like this physical self. What I see in the mirror, that is Adam. And the first time I did dimethyltryptamine, like I was alone. Maybe not the best idea, but I had to go on a lot of journeys by myself. And I hit it, and it just overwhelmingly like took over everything. Like the geometric patterns started to come, and then it just all encompassed. And I kind of like blasted off, and it was super discombobulating and actually pretty scary. And whenever I sat with the experience for a while and really thought about it, I'm like, man, why did I freak out? Why was I so scared? And I don't think it wasn't like a bad experience or anything like that. It was just very intense. And then I realized, like, I think it scared me because it was the very first time, like, I was me. Like, I was still myself. Everything was there, but this physical wasn't there anymore. Like, I was somewhere else. And then that experience, like, it just occurred to me, like, I have a body. I am not my body. You know what I mean? Like, it really...
That's so funny. That reminds me, the first time in my life my brain was at peace and quiet, I remember, like, ayahuasca kind of teaches you, and I remember, like, my brain is just constantly in chatter, right?
Yeah.
Just the conversation chatters, meaningless mostly, just going nonstop. And I remember thinking, man, if I stop my mind, then who am I? It was terrifying for me because I thought if I stopped the talking in my head, if I somehow silenced the talking in my head, would then I not be me? Would
Right.
something else take over me? And it was a terrifying thing. And I decided, no, I'm going to stop the talking in my head. And I experienced for the first time, I'm 47 now, I was 42. For the first time in my life, I felt and experienced calm and peace without a need for me to interject and have a conversation with myself. That's totally unnecessary.
Yeah.
And it was so liberating to realize that there's pieces of peace. You can be at peace.
You can.
You can be at peace. And I'm grateful for that. I never had an experience like that in 42 years, that you can have peace.
Right.
Peace, like at a really deep level. And anyways, I'm grateful for that learning and teaching, and more now. So what happens in plant medicine? It opens up these new neural pathways.
Right.
It rewires your brain. So guess what? Now, the medicine taught me how to be at peace.
Right.
And now, without working with medicine, I've created those neural pathways where I can sit in silence now. I
Yeah.
drive in a car, and I don't need conversation. I don't need the music on. I don't need distraction. Right? I've learned that peace is a beautiful teacher. Silence is a beautiful teacher.
Yeah.
And I have the framework now for that. And I was never able to get there, as crazy as that sounds, by myself.
It's I'm often surprised. Maybe it's just because I enjoy being like deep. I'm a deep thinker.
Yeah.
I go deep into like my mind. I'll just almost to like a detriment sometimes, because on the opposite, I can ruminate on bad things too much. But I'm very comfortable with like being in the quiet and being by myself. And have you ever gone like in a float tank before?
Yes.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. And I've asked people before, like, hey, have you tried floating or something? And I've gotten the response. Well, first I heard Joe Rogan talk about how people don't like that. In my mind, I'm like, why would somebody not like that? But then I started having conversations with people, and people are like, no, I don't think I could just sit there in the quiet with my thoughts. And like they think it's a bad thing, or it just makes them uncomfortable. And really like coming to the realization that there are people who are uncomfortable with having that, internal, being left alone with their own internal dialogue. It just kind of took me back, that there are people who don't have that peace, and they can't be with themselves and have those conversations.
I was one of them, and I think
Yeah.
the masses are in that space.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
too uncomfortable to look at your life in silence.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we have become accustomed to distraction, whether that's TV, music, radio, the foods we eat, they numb us. The foods, so much of our life is numbing to us.
Yes.
It's what a realization, right? That how much we dampen our sensitivities to life and spirit and beautiful energy.
Yeah.
And it's a rabbit hole you can go down, and we really start looking at why that is the case. But yeah, there's one of the things that we started doing on our retreats is have a day or two of silence.
Oh,
And
nice.
it's unreal what you can teach yourself if you're calm and quiet.
Yeah.
And I've yet to do one of these, but they have something called the
Silent.
Vipassana.
What is that?
I think it's a 7 or 10-day silent retreat.
Yeah.
And people talk about it as one of the most transformative days of our life. Literally, just being in a space where you don't speak.
Yeah.
We expend so much wasted thought and energy. It's energy, and we just spew it everywhere like a
Right.
shotgun. And you be quiet and you be in silence. It's powerful medicine.
Yeah.
It's powerful medicine.
Yeah, I've been wanting to try one of those.
Yeah.
I heard somebody talking about it, and they talked about how, there's other people there, and you're interacting with other people, but you're not speaking, and everything's nonverbal, and you start to really like tune in and tap into like the energy that's being exchanged and the feeling, because so much communication is actually nonverbal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when we take out the words and we take out like the pressure to say the right thing, or you know what I mean, to do this thing with make these noises with our mouth or whatever, like,
Yeah.
and we just be present and be around people or to yourself and do that work. I think there can be a ton of benefit to that. That's
Huge.
something I would like to try as well.
You know what? Here's one of the things that's beautiful about it. You speak with your eyes.
Yes.
Oh, so you speak with your eyes,
Yeah.
and the light of the body is the eyes, right? So you can have a conversation with your eyes,
Yeah.
and tell somebody you love them or you're grateful for them, and it's a million times more impactful than a book you'd write saying it. It's powerful.
Yeah.
So you speak with your eyes, you speak with your energy, and it's beautiful.
So I mean, you're a guy who seems pretty comfortable making eye contact with people and like a very like dedicated stare, a gaze, if you will.
Yeah.
And that's something I tried to work on, but I found that like whenever I first started that practice I've always tried to make good eye contact, but there's a difference between you make like eye contact and like glance off and continue, and then come back but as opposed to like a fixed eye contact, there's something there like it kind of makes you feel a certain way when you just lock eyes with somebody. There's something to that. And for me, it almost I had to overcome like a discomfort, if you will.
Yeah, I took a class called Landmark. You know, anybody listen? They have a 3-day class called the Forum, and this was I don't know 5 years ago.
Okay.
And it was so uncomfortable for me to sit because I had such ego. Who was I? Who they think I was? Just conversation running about a pretend person that I needed to manufacture and uphold this image. And at the time in my life, I was going through things were very painful, and I could not talk about them. And I didn't realize how much blockage I had to just genuinely being with other human beings in a vulnerable place.
Right.
And so, I'm grateful I learned some tools there to be with other people, but it was painful looking at you do these dialogues and you look into people's eyes and you share authentically. I didn't even know what authenticity was 5 years ago.
Right.
And just anything you're struggling with in life, there's a tool, there's a resource to fix it. We've
really
talked
is.
about a few of these things, right? But anything that's in your life that's causing you pain, we're not meant to feel pain.
Yeah.
We are meant to have lives that are vibrant and connected and lively and rich in every way. And so if you've got physical pain, emotional pain, if you've got anything in your life that's causing you discomfort and dis-ease, know that that's not what you're meant to feel and experience, and get the help you need. There's a book for it. There's a conference for it. There's medicines for it. There's conversation.
Yeah.
Right? If you're listening to this and you're in pain in any way in your life, like, fix it.
There's a way to do it.
There's a way to get everything done, like to feel amazing.
The human body is very good at finding that place of homeostasis and making do with whatever situation we give it. I always like to tell people, you don't know how good you can feel until you actually feel it. You know what I mean? Like, so many people, oh, no, I'm fine, I'm great. But then, they lose that 20 pounds or, they start getting that sleep or, something in their brain gets rewired and they look at themselves different. And then you just start to feel amazing. And it's like, holy shit, you just woke up and you're like, I didn't know I was living in the darkness and now I do. And it's because the body is so good at adapting and just making it work. But that doesn't mean you're at your most optimal state and the best you can be.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
And your body knows how to heal it, if you give it the resources, right?
Yes.
I think I told you this. I've decided recently I'm going to live to 111 years old.
Yeah.
And I've told my cells, stick around, guys. We're here for the long haul. Let's get the resources we need to be vibrant and healthy and make a difference in the world. But yeah, your body intuitively, if you talk to it especially, and you have intention to live and be vibrant, you'll be guided to people and foods and doors will start to open because we're built for life. Life grows everywhere. And we're built to be lively and vibrant. And so your body wants you to live, and your body and your cells, they got their own plan to be healthy. And you got to be an ally with your body, be an ally with your cells, be an ally with your organs, and you work together. Don't make it harder on your life than you need to.
Right.
By giving yourself unnecessary pain in any way, shape, or form. Don't be your own worst enemy in your life.
Yeah.
There's plenty of people and things that'll do that for you, but you be an ally to your body and your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Like just give yourself the things that you need: fresh water, fresh air, sunlight, movement. Like, it's a very simple recipe. It's simple in concept, maybe a little bit more difficult in practice, because it does take some discipline and routine and structure to make sure you're giving yourself these things that you need to thrive. Now we're so connected with nature, and I feel like we've really entered a space to where you've seen a very big surge in more natural remedies like essential oils and different things. And we use some frankincense even before coming, starting recording. Like, can you like educate me some on that? Because I'm not the most educated on like essential oils. I have some knowledge, but can you speak on that some, just like the power of that, or some of the things that you're doing? I mean, you are farming to help produce these things as well, right?
So, relative to other people, I don't know anything. Maybe relative to somebody listening to the call, I know quite a few things.
Yeah.
So,
whatever you know, I mean,
yeah, I've just recently, in the last year, really gotten into essential oils, and at its simplest form, everything is vibration and sound and frequency.
yes.
Okay, and so in your current state, you have a vibration and a frequency. If you partake of lavender, it's able to change your state to more the vibration and frequency of lavender, right?
Yeah.
For my lungs, I'll use eucalyptus, right? And it's just a different frequency, and these are healing plants and herbs.
Yeah.
Frankincense that we just took, right? So fascinating. They gave Jesus, right? The Magi's gave Jesus frankincense, myrrh, and gold.
Yes.
Right? And all specifically, why give Jesus frankincense? And frankincense is an amazing medicinal medicine. This specifically, it opens up your third eye, and it gives you like a antenna. And I've only started using frankincense like a month ago.
Okay.
And the first time I did it, literally, we're talking today on this amazing sound system. It's like that. It's a tuning fork. Frankincense for me is a tuning fork to the universe, and it gives you like a sixth sense. It's like a subtle halo of like antenna.
Yeah, kind of taps you in.
And so every one of these plants, God made plants for our benefit and healing, and they all offer something for us.
Right.
So I'm just the more I learn about plants, the more I'm just getting to know it. But I take
I use oregano oil.
Eucalyptus before you do yoga. It's a game changer. Do eucalyptus before you do yoga. Breathe it in.
Is that what we took this morning?
The eucalyptus. Yeah.
You're just like, here, I didn't know what it was. It smelled so good though.
Yoga. They call me the mayor. In my yoga class, I give everybody oils because I'm like, you don't do yoga without these oils. It changes your state. It literally takes you. You smell these things. It takes you to a different place emotionally, mentally, and physically.
Yeah.
And so why not optimize your life? So these plants and these tools are there, and why not use them? Either put some essential oils in your car. You're gonna have a better drive anywhere you're going. It just smells good. It feels good.
Yeah.
It alerts you. In the morning, I'll use orange. I'll diffuse orange, and you don't feel tired. It activates something in your brain neurochemistry that just enlivens you.
Yeah.
So I'm all about it, and I want to learn more about oils for sure.
Yeah, I'm constantly trying to learn. I have a friend who is a doTERRA rep, and I actually had him on the podcast. He was like episode number 4. We used to work together, and he put me on the essential oils. Like I do, if I'm feeling a little run down, I'll do some oil of oregano because it's like a natural, almost like antibiotic. Or if I need to like wake up, I'll do some like spearmint or peppermint oil, and it just livens me up. And so I also got a deep freeze, and I filled it with water, and I just plug it in every now and then, so it's like a cold plunge. And then I put in some lemon and some spearmint, and it's like I'll do that cold plunge in the morning, and then I get all the scents of those oils, and it just like wakens you up, and just like it you feel amazing. You feel supercharged, like the cold and the spearmint, and just everything is just on fire at that moment. You just wake up.
Bam.
Yeah, it's crazy stuff, like how we interact with these plants.
Oh yeah. Yeah, plants are fascinating. I've heard somebody say that we're not raising plants; they're raising us.
Yes, I've heard that too.
We're not growing plants; they're growing us.
Yeah,
There's people that argue that plants are more sophisticated on many levels than we are, and they're definitely kinder. Plants help each other out, right? They're kinder to each other,
yeah,
and they're lively. But yeah, we should all be like plants.
yeah,
You mentioned, what plants do. They need sunlight, they need nutrients, they need water, right? Plants are that's how they live.
yeah,
They're vibrant and they grow to the biggest they can be by just having those simple nutrients.
yeah.
So plants teach us like what are the elements the basic elements we need in our life as well.
And you mentioned the whole like mycelium network underneath plants, right? It's like a highway where they transfer nutrients from bigger, stronger ones to weaker ones, and they help each other out. And it's fucking crazy how much life is possible because of that mycelium network.
Yeah. Have you ever seen pictures of the universe?
Yeah.
It looks like mycelium network. It looks,
Right.
and you ever seen them graph the internet? That's what you see these diagrams of what the internet looks like. It's a
Yeah.
mycelium network. They're one and the same.
Yeah.
And literally nature's best way of sharing information.
Yeah.
It looks just like the internet. It looks like a network of stars, as above, so below,
Yeah.
right? And it's just phenomenal structure.
Yeah, that it always blows me away. So what? So you're going down in June, right?
Yeah, I'm
Like,
taking another group in June.
so
Yeah.
like, what does that look like for like? What's that trip look like? You know what I mean? I don't know what I'm trying to ask.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm just so curious
what
about
does
that.
what does it take to go?
Yeah.
What's the question you're asking? What is
Yeah, like what does it take to go? I mean, we kind of
Okay.
talked about like prepping ahead of, like if somebody wanted to pull the trigger on something like that, you know what I mean? Like what do they need to do?
Yeah, reach out to me, Jimmy Kindred at Gmail. We do conference calls to get people ready ahead of time. One of the things that I tell people, it literally is the best experience of your lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't care if you've had an amazing life, like everything has been amazing. This will be in your top 5 best experiences.
Yeah.
It really was. It's a gem to your life.
I've heard time and time again that, those ayahuasca experiences, like you just become a whole different person.
Yeah.
It just helps you like step, out of all of your shit, for lack of a better word, and like deal with it.
Yeah. I have a friend, I mean, there's many examples of this, but I have a friend that literally, she lived in Pennsylvania and she went through a divorce and
Yeah.
she got hit by a truck or just just trauma and difficulty in her life and got addicted to some things and was at a point in her life where she didn't want to live anymore
Oh, wow.
in immense physical pain, emotional pain, and just tried everything and all kinds of doctors and different ways. And no matter what she tried, she felt hollow and broken and in pain. Her life was filled with pain. And she told me her first experience was in Costa Rica. And she told her dad, she bought a one-way ticket to Costa Rica. And she told her dad, if this doesn't work, her plan was to kill herself in Costa Rica.
Oh,
This was her
wow.
last chance. This was her last effort. And she went and works with the medicine, and she's happy. She's vibrant. She's healed her life. She's an advocate for plant medicine now, and she's happy.
Yeah.
Her kids are happy. Their kids got her mother back. She's in a great relationship, and her business is thriving and doing well. And that's a stark 180.
Yes.
But that's the kind of things that are possible for people.
Yeah.
And so what's interesting is people don't know what's in their life that's hurting them in their way. Some people do, right? But there are other people that they're just open to learning and growing more. And so I'd say you have an open mind.
Yeah.
Have an open mind because you don't know what you don't know, and you'll get healing on levels you didn't even know. Some things you'll get healing on that you knew were issues. You can relive and process experiences that you had that you didn't even know was bothering you since you were 4, since you were 1, and you're able to kind of process those things. So, be open to an incredible, miraculous experience is probably the number one thing.
Yeah.
Don't be attached to what you want to have happen or what you don't want to have happen. Just be open for miracles. Be open for learnings and lessons. We create a kind of an intimate small group, and everybody leaves. It's like giving birth together. Everybody leaves as just beautiful friends.
Yeah.
And companions, because you go through an experience, and 10 or 11 days is typically a trip that feels like a decade of amazing experiences. That you pack so much density of amazing experience in a
Yeah.
short amount of time, and it stays in your heart. It's not just these medicines are like, it's like getting an inoculation. These medicines work with you after the experience. You're changed in your biology, you're changed in your heart. And so the best thing you can do is be open to miracles, be open to that experience. It's about $3,300 for the experience itself in terms of the financing, and that covers your lodging and all the food. And we work with a medicine called Combo on the front end that really cleans your body out. In addition to ayahuasca, there are other plants that we drink that clean out your kidneys, and it's the deepest cleanse you could possibly ever go on in your life.
Yeah.
And so just be ready for that as much as you can. Be ready for just a rejuvenated. I think it gives people probably 5 years at least on their life. You can physically see a transformation in people's lightness of their body and a peace in their heart. And so if that's something you're looking for, let's go to the jungle and let's get your own miracle.
Yeah, that sounds like a rad time. We're kind of entering a place where you're seeing an acceptance of plant medicine here in the States. And I feel like with the work like Rick Doblin and MAPS and what they're doing, we're really close to a place where you're going to see clinics that are offering like MDMA and psilocybin and possibly ayahuasca. What are your thoughts on that?
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. It's interesting. I have a good friend of mine. He's in that space right now, drug treatment centers, and people spend $20,000 or $30,000 a month, and they'll be there for 2, 3, maybe 6 months, and they have a 70% relapse rate.
Oh, wow.
70.
That's huge.
It's huge. So people are wasting their money on so many things, and iboga for certain things, ayahuasca for certain things. Like I said, people don't know the pain that they're in, and when they can feel what it feels like to be alive and feel at peace, you just don't want the things in your life that have been hurting you.
Yeah.
You don't fight to stay away from them. Your desire for things that are toxic, your desire for the poison in your life, whether that's people or drugs or your environment that's not serving you, your desire to have those things in your life changes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's surgery, and it works.
Do you think
And
you get
so
the same
I think the time's come. Yeah.
Do you think you get the same benefit, like you meant, like how we mentioned, like you're back in traffic maybe the next day, or being here in the U.S. Do you think you get the same benefit without fully unplugging? Like, I mean, maybe you don't have to go all the way to the jungle, but do you think maybe we put these centers like out in the wilderness or something, or we're just
yes and no. Another thing that's beautiful about the jungle is you can work with these plant medicines here in the States, but the level of shamanism is not the same.
Okay.
Like the best shamans they're in the jungle healing their people. I mean, the lady I work with, when she's not actually, the first time she ever worked with Westerners was like a year and a half ago.
Oh, wow.
This is a lady who's healing people in her front room all the time. I mean, it's not a business for her.
Right.
It's what
It's her
people
calling.
come to her for healing of everything. And I think most of what she does there's no money involved. Somebody might give her a chicken or, literally. And so these are people that just, they have all the resources and how to work with the plants. And so here in the States, the people, there's one thing that gives you experience is the ayahuasca itself, which is a plant, but another just key thing, it's important who you sit with and who's in your group. And the shamans guide the experience, and they know how to, extract things in your body and energy that need to go. And so it's not just ayahuasca, it's the skill and the degree of love and intention that the shaman has.
Yeah.
And so can you do it in the States? Yes, but there's nothing. It doesn't compare at all.
Right.
It's you can snow ski in like Tokyo in a mall. Okay, or you can go to Park City, Utah and ski after fresh snow. Both of them you're technically skiing, but skiing in the powder in Utah and is just not the same as in the mall. Okay.
Right.
And so that's kind of like ayahuasca. You can have similar experiences in the States, but it's the way to do it.
Yeah. It's not the same.
It's not the same.
All.
It's not even the same anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really not.
Yeah. Now we've covered, I think, quite a bit of kind of like the process and leading up to and what you need to do to prepare yourself for this. But the time afterwards, like that's where a lot of the work is done, right? That integration period. Like, how important is that for folks?
It's key. Actually, today at 5, I have a call with our group, right? So Um, one of the guys that went on the trip, we got home like 4 days ago, and he spent like all day Monday this week just crying with his daughter. And so it's you have the medicine in you, but you'll have realizations in your life 6 months from now that just you'll totally shift things.
Yeah.
So I really recommend for everybody to take notes after every ceremony. You write. Write till my hand hurts. And I'll do bullet points. You want to review those notes because you'll get insight about what to change and how to be differently. And it's important to have a support network to do that because again, you're there for healing. So it would typically you change your diet, right? I eat much more plant-based and I care about water and my whole diet. I used to be on the Atkins diet where it's all about meat and I don't my body doesn't want meat anymore. So you'll change some things in your life.
Yeah.
Your diet will change, what you care about will change, maybe your profession changes. So you're given insight and direction, and it's important to integrate and do those things.
Yeah.
To kind of something else that I do that, just like this conference, you go and you leave with the notes. If you don't have a daily practice, for whatever it is, you get off track, right? So me and a couple of friends, we've been doing a call Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for 5 days a week. It's called we follow an outline of this book called The Miracle Morning. And it's every day. It's 10 minutes of silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, and reading a book, and then journaling about it.
Oh, nice.
And so you prime your life. And so that or something, the book's called Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. You need a daily ritual and a system. The quality of your life is the quality of your rituals.
Yeah.
So you need a daily connect point for your own life that you can self-generate the change that you want to see in your life. But yeah, the integration is the key, right? It's not about going and having this experience and you're going to change something in your life.
Yeah.
Whether that's 2 degrees or 20 degrees or 180 degrees, you're going to change some things in your life so that you can be vibrant and healthy and alive, fully alive. Yeah.
What does your morning ritual look like?
So it's that silence, affirmation, visualization.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's nothing I created. It's just these are things that work, and some days I'm better at than others. But you have to dedicate time, right? You be intentional about life, right? If you don't have a plan for your life, no one else does, and it's like having a morning routine that you're able to visualize the life you want and then come back to it daily till you reference your guide point is really, really important. So I've been doing it for like 3 years and it's totally changed my life. A friend of mine called me one day and he said, "You want to wake up every day like it's Christmas?" And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And he told me about this book, Miracle Morning, right? It's waking up every day like it's Christmas because
cool.
your life starts to come on fire on your terms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've really found, at least for me, like my own personal success, like it really is like dependent on my morning routine.
Yeah.
Like I start the morning and I get those early wins, and it just creates this momentum throughout the day, and it's just like you add wins on wins on wins, and it just sets the whole tone.
Yeah, it's your rudder for your life, right?
Yeah.
And most of us we're unintentional about our day.
Yeah.
And so it's a great way to like plan and be intentional about what you're creating in life.
Yeah.
Because life flying by.
Yeah,
It's
it
flying
is.
by. You got to be intentional about it.
Yeah, I think adding intention to your life is a huge piece of it. So many whether even like breathing, so many of us like shallow breathe. We don't think about it. It's it's an auto thing that we do, and just these real shallow breaths. You don't really fully engage your full breath and diaphragm and everything. Like we were in yoga this morning, big deep breaths all the way to your belly. Open that diaphragm. When you do that and you tap into the breath, and then you tap into this primal state into the body, and everything just starts working together. Like just doing things with intention, I guess, is my point.
Yeah, one of my favorite people. That's what she teaches. She teaches on intentionality. Like, wow, what a powerful word. What are your intentions?
Yes.
What a great thing to ask people. What a great thing to ask yourself in this podcast or just your life. What are your intentions? Really, because guess what? You get your intentions.
Yes.
So be careful about what you wish for because you're going to get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
For better or worse. Be very careful about what you wish for. I listened to a TED Talk last week, and Google TED Abracadabra. It's a 15-minute TED Talk, and as a musician, or I'm sorry, magician that was talking about the word abracadabra. And abracadabra is a real word. I didn't know that. I thought it was a made up word.
Oh yeah.
Abracadabra is a real word. And it's Aramaic, which is the language that Jesus spoke. And I hope I'm getting this right, but it's something like what you speak, you create. We speak worlds like God speaks into existence. He speaks and worlds are created. We speak into our existence worlds.
Yes.
Our own life is 1,000,000% the result of our creation.
Yeah.
And it starts with your language to yourself, to other people. And just notice you're getting out of life what you speak about.
Yeah, dude, that's why it's so important not to like speak ill of people or celebrate other people's success. Because
Yeah.
when you hate on somebody's success, you're telling the universe you don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's really important to be careful with like the things you're thinking and feeling and speaking.
Yeah. Anything that comes after I am, have it be life affirming and life giving.
Yeah.
I am, have it be amazing. I have a little 4-year-old, and we try to do affirmations in the morning. And I don't think there's any gift you can give another human being than helping them get how important their language is. And that's something I'm very grateful for my parents for. We were very cautious around the language in our home, and I didn't realize how few people had an upbringing where your language mattered. Your language, you're building your life with your language. Have it be beautiful, have it be rich, have it be intentional, have it be positive.
Yeah.
About everything, because your language is just everything. It's everything.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Well, Jimmy, it's been probably a little over an hour now. This has been a fantastic conversation. Like, I really appreciate you like taking this time. We'll probably wrap it up here. I don't want to like take too much of your time.
Sounds good. Thank you, Adam.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so
It's
much,
been a
brother.
pleasure.
I'm gonna kind of turn it over to you. Is there? I mean, I think we kind of touched on a lot of the information if people wanted to get a hold of you. But if there's anything that you wanted to, plug, promote, any message you wanted to get out there, it's up to you. Like it's kind of now your time if you want to leave anybody with anything.
I appreciate that. You know what? What's coming up for me is be your own cheerleader. If you're going to plug or promote anything in life, have it be your greatest version of you.
Yeah.
Be your own cheerleader in life. Life is too short to live in pain. Life is too short to not be blissed out. Kind of a new thing that I'm trying to bring in my life is a day where every day you are moved to tears by something that's beautiful in life. Like something you learn, something you see in other people. You're moved to tears of just gratitude. Life is too beautiful to not see that. And then every day it should be filled with some amount of laughter to that level too.
Yeah.
So that's my wish for my own life, and that's my wish for anybody on this call, is just live life to the point of tears. Right? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful life. You're the author of your life. You've got the pen. Create something meaningful that matters. And that's what I'm so grateful for the people in my life that have guided me along the way and given me different teachings and insight to understand how precious this life is.
Yeah.
It's your life. Live it well.
Absolutely. That's a beautiful place to stop. Dude, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It's been such a pleasure meeting you today.
Likewise.
This has been great.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Until next time.